Welcome to the History Uncovered, where we journey beyond the boundaries of recorded history to discover the truth behind humanity's greatest mysteries. Today we unveil the secrets of lost temples that guarded knowledge so powerful, civilizations rose and fell in their shadows. I invite you to support our channel by subscribing and joining us on this extraordinary exploration into the past. This is The Forbidden Temples, Ancient Mysteries that shook civilizations, a story that will challenge everything you thought you knew about our ancestors. Stay with us until the end as we piece together fragments of forgotten wisdom that echo through millennia. The journey into these sacred spaces begins now. First, the Temple of Eternal Flames, deep in the heart of an ancient valley, where morning mists clung to stone walls like ancestral spirits, stood a temple unlike any other. Its pillars rose from foundations laid by hands that understood secrets the modern world had forgotten. The priests who tended the eternal flames wore robes of crimson silk, dyed with pigments extracted from rare mountain flowers. Their faces bore the calm wisdom of those who had spent decades studying manuscripts written in languages now lost to time. Inside the great hall, flames danced in bronze vessels that had burned without pause for 300 years. The firekeepers maintained these sacred blazes using methods passed down through generations, never allowing darkness to claim the sanctuary. Merchants traveling the ancient trade roads would detour for days just to witness the temple's magnificence. They brought offerings of incense, precious metals, and rare herbs, seeking blessings from priests who could read the patterns in smoke and flame. The temple's architecture revealed mathematical precision that modern engineers struggle to replicate with contemporary tools. Each column aligned perfectly with celestial bodies at specific times of year, transforming the entire structure into a massive astronomical instrument. In chambers beneath the main sanctuary, scribes recorded observations of stars, planets, and mysterious lights that appeared in the night sky. Their detailed drawings showed understanding of celestial mechanics that would not be rediscovered for another 1,000 years. The high priestess, chosen through rigorous trials of intellect and spiritual devotion, held authority that rivaled the regional king. She wore a crown inlaid with stones that glowed faintly in darkness, a technology whose secret died with the temple's fall. Daily rituals began before dawn, when acolytes in white linen garments swept the marble floors with brooms made from sacred plants. Their chants echoed through corridors, adorned with murals depicting gods and humans working together to maintain cosmic balance. The temple attracted scholars from distant lands who came to study in its vast library of clay tablets and papyrus scrolls. These ancient texts contained medical treatments, agricultural techniques, and philosophical insights that formed the foundation of entire civilizations. During the festival of the solstice, thousands gathered in the courtyard to witness the sun's first rays illuminate a specific altar. The precision of this alignment, calculated centuries earlier, demonstrated mastery of mathematics and astronomy that defied the supposed limitations of the era. But within the deepest sanctuary, accessible only to the highest-ranking priests, lay the temple's greatest secret, a chamber containing knowledge forbidden to common eyes. The guardians of this inner sanctum took vows of silence, protecting mysteries that could grant immense power or bring catastrophic destruction. Second, the sunken oracle's sanctuary. On a cliff overlooking an endless expanse of azure water, priests maintained a sanctuary dedicated to prophecy and divine communication. The temple's white limestone walls caught the sunlight each morning, making the entire structure appear to glow with supernatural radiance. The oracle, a woman chosen from birth and trained in the art of sacred visions, lived in isolation within the temple's highest tower. She consumed special herbs prepared by temple physicians, substances that opened her mind to receiving messages from realms beyond mortal comprehension. Pilgrims arrived from across the known world, sailing for months to seek answers about wars, harvests, marriages, and the fates of kingdoms. They waited in covered courtyards, sleeping on woven mats while priests determined who possessed sufficient purity to approach the oracle. The sanctuary's design incorporated channels that carried water from underground springs throughout the complex, creating a constant musical sound. This flowing water served both practical and mystical purposes, as priests believed the liquid carried spiritual energy that enhanced prophetic abilities. In the Great Hall, artisans had created mosaics from thousands of colored stones, depicting scenes of prophecies that had shaped history. Visitors studied these images for hours, seeking understanding of how divine messages had guided kings to victory or warned of impending disasters. The temple treasury held gifts from grateful rulers. Golden statues, ivory carvings, and jeweled daggers presented after prophecies proved accurate. These treasures funded the sanctuary's operations and supported the community of priests, servants, and craftspeople who maintained the sacred site. Temple astronomers spent nights on the highest platforms, charting the movements of celestial bodies and recording unusual phenomena. They believed the stars held messages about earthly events, and their calculations influenced the oracle's interpretations of her visions. Young apprentices underwent rigorous training in music, mathematics, philosophy, and sacred ritual before being accepted into the priesthood. Many spent 20 years studying ancient texts and practicing meditation techniques designed to purify the mind and strengthen spiritual perception. The oracle's chamber contained censers burning rare resins that produced fragrant smoke believed to facilitate communication with divine forces. Elaborately carved furniture, inlaid with precious metals and shells from distant shores, demonstrated the wealth and influence of this spiritual center. During times of crisis, kings would send urgent messengers bearing expensive offerings, desperate for guidance from the oracle's prophetic wisdom. Wars were delayed or launched, alliances formed or broken, based solely on the cryptic messages delivered from this cliffside sanctuary. Then came the Great Catastrophe, an event recorded in fragments of surviving texts. The earth shook with fury beyond mortal experience. The cliff collapsed into the sea, taking the sanctuary, its treasures, its priests, and its oracle into the depths where secrets remain hidden still. Third, the mountain shrine of healing waters. High in the mountains, where eagles circled peaks crowned with eternal snow, healers maintained a temple dedicated to the sacred art of medicine. Pilgrims suffering from ailments of body and spirit climbed the steep paths, driven by hope and faith in the temple's legendary healing powers. The temple complex centered around natural hot springs that bubbled from deep within the earth, their waters rich with minerals unknown elsewhere. Priests had built elegant stone pools to contain these springs, creating bathing chambers where the sick could immerse themselves in therapeutic warmth. Physicians at this mountain shrine possessed knowledge of herbs, surgery, and treatments that seemed miraculous to those who witnessed their work. They had documented hundreds of medicinal plants growing on the mountain slopes, recording their properties in detailed illustrated manuscripts. The head healer, a man whose white beard reached his waist, had spent 50 years studying the human body and experimenting with natural cures. His understanding of anatomy surpassed that of scholars in the great cities below, knowledge gained through careful observation and compassionate practice. In the temple's infirmary, patients rested on comfortable beds, while attendants brought them specially prepared foods and herbal infusions. The rooms featured large windows that allowed fresh mountain air and sunlight to enter, elements the healers considered essential for recovery. Temple gardens grew in terraces carved into the mountainside, each level dedicated to specific categories of medicinal plants. Monks tended these gardens with devotion equal to that shown in prayer, understanding that these living medicines represented divine gifts to humanity. The temple's library contained medical texts copied from even more ancient sources, some dating back to civilizations whose names were barely remembered. These scrolls described surgical procedures, pharmaceutical preparations, and diagnostic techniques that demonstrated sophisticated understanding of disease. Patients who recovered often chose to remain at the temple as servants or students, dedicating their healed lives to helping others. This created a community of former sufferers who understood illness intimately and could offer comfort from experience as well as medical skill. During certain phases of the moon, priests conducted ceremonies in a circular chamber where acoustics created remarkable sound amplification. They believed specific chants and musical tones possessed healing properties, vibrations that could influence the body's natural restoration processes. The temple accepted all who came seeking help, regardless of wealth, status, or origin, funded by donations from grateful nobles and merchants. This policy earned the mountain shrine respect throughout the region and attracted talented healers who valued compassion above material reward. Apprentice physicians studied for years before being trusted to treat patients independently, learning through observation and supervised practice. The temple's teaching methods emphasized understanding rather than mere memorization, producing healers who could adapt knowledge to unique situations. The shrine's ultimate mystery lay in a sealed chamber accessible only to masters who had proven both skill and wisdom beyond ordinary measure. Inside, according to whispered legends, resided knowledge of healing techniques so powerful they bordered on the miraculous, reserved for only the most worthy practitioners. Fourth, the desert cathedral of Star Watchers, where endless dunes met the horizon in every direction. An impossible structure rose from the sand like a monument to human ambition. The temple's towers reached toward the heavens, their tops crowned with bronze domes that reflected starlight with mirror-like precision. Astronomer priests maintained this remote sanctuary, men and women who had sacrificed worldly pleasures to devote themselves to studying the cosmos. They wore dark robes to preserve their night vision and spent countless hours on observation platforms, recording celestial phenomena with meticulous care. The temple's design incorporated ingenious features that enhanced astronomical observation despite the harsh desert environment. Water channels cooled the buildings during scorching days, while precisely angled walls blocked wind-blown sand from sensitive instruments. In the main observatory, bronze devices of remarkable complexity allowed priests to measure the positions of stars with astonishing accuracy. These instruments represented generations of refinement, each improvement carefully documented and tested before being incorporated into the temple's apparatus. Star charts created by the Desert Watchers mapped thousands of celestial objects, including stars too faint for casual observers to notice. They tracked moving lights that traversed the sky on predictable paths, recording cycles that repeated across decades and centuries. The high astronomer, a woman whose family had served the temple for 5 generations, possessed knowledge that made her counsel invaluable to rulers. She could predict eclipses years in advance, calculate optimal times for planting crops, and identify auspicious dates for important undertakings. Temple libraries contained records spanning hundreds of years, showing how the night sky changed gradually across the vast sweep of time. Scribes worked in special chambers lit by oil lamps with red glass shields that protected the astronomers' carefully preserved night vision. Young students learned mathematics, geometry, and the relationships between earthly events and celestial movements through intensive study. They spent years memorizing star positions and understanding the complex calculations necessary to predict astronomical phenomena accurately. The temple served as a crossroads where caravans met to exchange goods and knowledge, drawn by the astronomer's reputation for wisdom. Merchants from distant lands brought stories of different skies, contributing observations that helped the Star Watchers refine their universal understanding. During sacred festivals, priests demonstrated their knowledge by predicting exactly when specific stars would appear on the horizon. These public displays strengthened faith in the temple's mission and reminded the faithful of humanity's connection to the cosmic order. The Desert Cathedral maintained its own system of time measurement, more accurate than those used in the surrounding kingdoms. This precision allowed planning of religious celebrations, agricultural activities, and military campaigns with unprecedented reliability. Deep beneath the main temple, in chambers carved from solid rock, the Star Watchers preserved their most precious discovery, This secret knowledge, entrusted only to masters who had proven unwavering dedication, involved observations of celestial phenomena that suggested mysteries far beyond current understanding. Fifth, a hidden temple of ancient wisdom. In a valley protected by mountains and accessible only through a narrow canyon, the final temple stood as a repository of collected knowledge. Its existence remained known only to initiates and enlightened seekers who had proven themselves worthy through years of study and spiritual development. The temple complex sprawled across the valley floor, its buildings constructed from stones fitted so precisely that no mortar was needed. Gardens and fountains created an oasis of beauty where philosophers could contemplate eternal questions and surroundings, designed to inspire profound thought. Scholars from the previous 4 temples traveled here when they reached the pinnacle of their respective disciplines. This gathering of the greatest minds created an intellectual environment unmatched in the ancient world, where breakthroughs occurred through collaborative genius. The grand library contained knowledge gathered from all known lands, organized by topic in chambers dedicated to specific fields of study. Texts on medicine shared space with treatises on mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, engineering, and subjects whose names are now forgotten. Master teachers conducted discussions in shaded courtyards, challenging students with questions that had no simple answers. These dialogues explored the nature of reality, consciousness, ethics, and the fundamental principles governing existence itself. The temple maintained workshops where craftsmen and engineers experimented with mechanical devices, creating tools of remarkable sophistication. Their inventions included water clocks of exceptional accuracy, automated doors operated by hidden mechanisms, and optical instruments that magnified distant objects. Artists decorated the temple walls with murals that encoded philosophical concepts in visual metaphors, requiring years of study to fully comprehend. Every image, every symbol carried layers of meaning that revealed deeper truths to those who approached them with prepared minds. The Council of Elders, representing all branches of knowledge maintained by the temple, met regularly to integrate discoveries across disciplines. They recognized that true wisdom required understanding how different fields of study connected, forming a unified picture of reality. Initiation ceremonies for new members involved tests of character, intelligence, and dedication that eliminated those seeking power rather than enlightenment. Only individuals genuinely committed to truth for its own sake gained access to the temple's deepest secrets. The complex included chambers designed for meditation and spiritual practice, where seekers could explore consciousness through disciplined mental training. These techniques produced altered states that some claimed allowed direct perception of mathematical and philosophical truths. The temple's agricultural systems demonstrated applied knowledge from multiple disciplines, producing abundant harvests through innovative irrigation and crop selection. This self-sufficiency allowed scholars to focus on intellectual pursuits without worrying about basic survival, creating ideal conditions for breakthrough discoveries. In the temple's innermost sanctuary, accessible only to those who had mastered all branches of temple knowledge, lay the culmination of ancient wisdom. Here, in a chamber designed to inspire awe and reverence, the complete picture of reality assembled by countless generations finally revealed itself to worthy eyes. The 5 temples we have explored today represent humanity's eternal quest to understand ourselves, our world, and our place in the cosmos. Though these sacred sites vanished from history, their legacy survived in the knowledge they preserved and the questions they continue to inspire. Modern archaeology occasionally rediscovers traces of these lost sanctuaries, finding evidence that confirms legends once dismissed as mythology. Each discovery reminds us that our ancestors possessed wisdom and capabilities we are only beginning to appreciate fully. The secrets they guarded so carefully await those patient enough to search, humble enough to learn, and wise enough to use knowledge responsibly. Perhaps the greatest treasure these temples offer is not their specific discoveries, but their example of dedication to truth and enlightenment. If this journey through ancient mysteries has intrigued you, I encourage you to like this video and share it with others who seek to understand our past. Subscribe to the History Uncovered for more explorations into the remarkable achievements of our ancestors and the mysteries they left behind. Leave your thoughts in the comments about which temple intrigued you most and what other historical mysteries you would like us to investigate. Until our next adventure into the hidden corners of history, remember that the past is never truly lost, only waiting to be rediscovered.